Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/ProRevenge. It's funny when someone cuts you out of their life as a punishment. It's actually the best thing they can do. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Sister wants to live with me for free and chuck out other person so they can have 2 bedrooms. So I, 34-year-old female, live in a small 3-bedroom house with my mom. I have some health problems and my mom couldn't afford to live by herself, so it works for the 2 of us. I have the large bedroom as I spend a lot of time in there due to my health, and my mom has one of the box rooms. The other room's another box room, and at the time, it just had a bed and a wardrobe. She didn't want to work and was going to become homeless. She demanded that she could move in with me completely rent-free, and because she couldn't stand to live in just a tiny box room, our mom would have to move out and live with her boyfriend, who she didn't want to live with. My family's always given in to this sister's every demand. I've never given in to her unreasonable demands, and my mom was willing to move in with her boyfriend. I told my sister that if she needed to move into my house for support, then she absolutely could, but I couldn't afford to cover all the bills and mortgage for more than a month, so she'd either have to pay the 50% or our mom would continue to live there. Side note, I hated living with my sister growing up. She was filthy, never cleaned up after herself, and played loud music until the early hours. So me agreeing for her to live with us was actually huge for me. My sister had a massive go at me, saying I only cared about money and was a terrible person. She tried to get my mom to convince me to let her move in rent-free as long as she wanted. I did not give in. My sister then cut me out of her life for the best part of a year, blocked me on all social media and phone apps. Having this break from her made me realize how much stress she was adding to my life, and I have no relationship with her anymore. Edited to add, my sister didn't become homeless. She had many options available to her, but none of them met her standards. And our second story. Enjoy the hot summer day. This past year, my family joined a local private pool club. Nothing super fancy, just a membership-based nonprofit that owns a plot of land with a pool. One of the things we loved was it had a specific kid pool for ages 5 and under. I met my wife Saturday afternoon after I did some yard work and the weather was brutal. This was the end of July, pushing 100 degrees Fahrenheit with matching humidity. We're in the kiddie pool area supervising our kids, as is the rules, with my wife and I taking period turns to jump into the bigger pool. One of the times while I was watching the kids, and older kids were sneaking up on smaller kids with super soaker-style water guns and blasting them. The first time it happened to my oldest, 3 years old, I said, "Tell him to stop, and you don't want to play with them." She did that, and I was proud. Not 2 minutes later, he did it again. I yelled at him, "Do not spray her or any other kid again unless they're playing with you." He sprayed another kid that went crying to his mother, not in the kiddie pool area despite the rules. I immediately went into the 3 feet of water and took the kid's gun and said I'd only give it back to a parent. He burst into tears and ran off. He came back with a mother and the pool manager, pointed at me saying I took his toy. The mother started laying into me, etc. By now, my wife is back and we're drawing attention. When she stopped, I was silent. She asked, "Are you going to say something or just look stupid?" I was waiting for you to finish. I found it's best to let children rant and tire themselves out. I then explained what had happened. Another parent that had been in the pool backed me up. The pool manager then asked the mother why she wasn't supervising her son in the kiddie area since all children 5 and under needed to be supervised. "Because he's 7, you idiot." He's not allowed in the pool, and you know that. This is the 3rd time you've ignored the pool rules this week. You'll have to leave for the day. She then went into another rant about how it was the hottest day of the year, she pays the manager's salary, they don't have AC at home, etc. When her husband showed up with their older son, he looked so embarrassed. I gave him the gun. The manager gave my kids free ice cream. It was a hot day, but I was cooled off with the satisfaction of my revenge. Good work, OP. Stick it to that Karen. And our last story. Karen demands money for her daughter. I should give a little backstory first. My parents had divorced when I was 10. I'm now 20, because my dad found out she was cheating when she told him my brother and sister, who were 7 and 8 at the time, weren't his. When asked for her reason to cheat, she said that she found a man who was able to give her the high life, unlike my dad, a farmer trying his best to maintain a family while managing my grandfather's farm. When discussing custody over me in court, my mom said she wanted nothing to do with me and left my dad with full custody, while she took my brother and sister with her, then married her side piece a month after everything was finalized. Of course, with the rise of social media, she only includes me in family photos to make herself look good, even though she tosses me to the side afterwards. I don't even have a relationship with my siblings because they look down on me for classist and petty reasons. Now with that out of the way, on with the show. It was about 7:30 in the morning. I was feeding cattle and having a jam session when my dad came out to the feedlot to tell me someone was here to see me. I asked him who it was, but I didn't need him to answer me once I saw the angry look on his face as he throws a cigarette he'd failed to light. I hop off the tractor and go walking around the farmyard until I spot a brand new Porsche with my mother sitting in the driver's seat. To describe what she looks like, imagine someone did a crappy job doing James Charles and Jeffree Star's heaviest makeup routine at the same time. A Karen haircut with only the blondest of highlights and spray-on tan that'd make Trump look pale. I often wonder if she'll ever do a face reveal just so the world could see the hunk of Swiss cheese under all that. I walk up to her car and very politely say hello to her before she wrinkles her nose and looks at me in disgust. M. Don't you have anything better to wear besides those filthy rags? And take that wad of chewing tobacco out of your mouth. Honestly, I'm embarrassed you're my son looking like that. Me. These are work clothes, and I was working. And I just put this chaw in. It ain't even kicked in yet. Besides, what do you want? She looks me up and down with a disgusted look again before taking a deep breath, then speaking. I need to ask a favor. In fact, it's rather important. The only thought going through my head was, she's part of a cult and needs me to be a blood sacrifice at tonight's meeting. Well, what is it, I ask? See, your sister's going to be graduating this year, and I think it'd only be fair if you gave her the money your grandfather left you, since you obviously don't need it. I know what she's after now. My grandpa had put aside $25,000 for each grandchild that once they turn 18 they can use for college, buying a car, whatever. The only catch was you needed to either graduate high school or obtain a GED. Now, why would she be wanting this money, you may ask? Well, I'll tell you. She had asked my grandpa after the divorce that not only should her kids, my brother and sister, still get the money, but also he needed to beef it up a few grand. My grandpa, out of spite, took the money originally meant for them and put it all in my account and told her his only actual grandkids get the money. A few years later, when he passed away, my dad had added some of his inheritance into it, so when I graduated, I ended up with $93,000. I've since spent $27,000 of it on a tractor and put the rest in savings, where I add on to it every paycheck. Me. Why would I give her any money? She doesn't even speak to me anymore. Because it would only be fair since your grandpa denied her that money, and she deserves it since she'll be attending college unlike you, plus as her big brother, you need to be responsible. That money was left for me to use on what I wish. Besides, if she wants it, she needs to ask me herself, instead of you telling me to do so. She doesn't need to ask you. In fact, I shouldn't be asking you either, but since your grandfather was an a-hole and you weren't caring enough to hand it over before, here I am. Aren't you guys paying for her college? Why do I have to give her some too? Well, you see, I'm paying for tuition and housing, but she'll still need spending money as she shouldn't be working a low-level job to have money for fun. Then give her spending money too. But I'll already be spending a lot as college is expensive. Won't you do this for her? No, I won't. And since when has something been too expensive for you? Just make your side piece work harder like you did in the past when you wanted something big and flashy. How dare you speak to me like that? I'm your mother, and you should be thankful I gave birth to you. Even just a little bit'll help. An idea came to mind. I falsely apologized to her and said she was right. I should give her something. I told her I'm going to run to my truck and grab the checkbook, and off I went. Once I was at my truck, I proceeded to dig through the cup holders for pennies. Every little bit helps, right? Once I gathered 20 or so pennies, I walk back and tell her to hold her hand out and drop the pennies in them with a smile. What's this? You said a little bit could help a lot, didn't you? So I thought you should have that. This isn't what I meant. A few thousand is more what I had in mind. She then throws the pennies at me and starts blaring the horn, screaming at the top of her lungs I give her what she asked for. Honestly, where's a Pokeball when you need one? 'Cause this one needs to be trained professionally on how to act. I'm just standing there watching her go on like this as she's demanding money and calling me everything under the sun, when she goes quiet as I hear my dad yell out from somewhere, "Shut the F up, you bee!" Taking this moment, I look back at her and say, "You never said thank you." EM. F you, and you will give your sister what she deserves. When you do a face reveal, I will. She told me to go F myself and sped off, and that was the end of it. Why is it suddenly your job to help pay for your sister's education? She sounds unhinged. The entitlement is astronomical. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.